All right, good evening and welcome everyone to today's session. This is the third day of our workshops where we are looking at the various programs that are offered by public universities in Malawi. For those who have been with us from the first day, we had a guest presenter, Agiwizi Kambala, who shared with us how to make the right career choices. And the second day, we were looking at programs related to health sciences, engineering, and technology. And today, which is our third day, we are exploring programs that have to do with business, management, finance, social sciences, arts, and humanities. So probably today might be one of those longest days because we have quite a number of programs that we have to talk about. So we'll have to ask for your patience and understanding as we'll be doing these sessions. We have a team of presenters or panelists who are going to speak to us. So the way we'll go around this is that we'll start with those who are presenting programs to do with business management and finance. After that team is done, we are going to cross over to the ones who are going to do social sciences, and we are going to finish with arts and humanities. Therefore, I would like to ask that please pay attention. If it happens that you have any question, there will come a specific time whereby we'll say that whoever has a question, they should write in the chat box. Currently, the chat box is closed. So when the time for the questions come, we'll ask that you should write your questions in the chat box. Even for those of us who are following through Facebook, you can just write your questions as a comment on Facebook or write your question to our Facebook inbox. And we have a team that is there waiting. They are going to try and bring the question to the panelists here. So as we usually say for the past days, the house rules are that please don't switch on your video if you are not the presenter, and also don't unmute yourself. If it happens that you are frequently unmuting yourself or you are frequently switching on your video, the host might decide to kick you out, and we don't want you out of this meeting. So at this moment, I will hand over to the first team that is going to present, and that's Andrew and Kumbo. Over to you guys. Thank you.
I believe all of you are able to see my screen. So I'll be taking you through
Kumbo, if you are speaking, there's a chance you are muted. We can't hear you.
And how is this? Are you able to hear me now? Okay, so I'll take you through 4 of the programs that are offered at MUBAS and UNIMA. So we'll be answering these questions. What are these programs and what are the subject combinations, as well as where they are offered? So there is Bachelor of Arts, Public Administration. So this is all about running government and public services efficiently. You should think of it as part of the government that makes sure everything works smoothly, from local services like schools and hospitals to national policies and laws. So this is offered at the University of Malawi, and it runs for 4 years. The requirements are the MSc, GCE, O level equivalent, and you're supposed to have 6 credits, including English and mathematics. And you would notice that some of the requirements are the same as for the Bachelor of Business Administration and Bachelor of Business Administration Marketing. So I will not repeat on the requirements on those two. On the specific objectives for the Bachelor of Business Administration, this degree covers various aspects of running a business, such as finance, operations, leadership, and strategy. And it is offered by Malawi University of Business and Applied Sciences. And there is also Bachelor of Business Administration. This is specifically on the marketing side. So this degree focuses on understanding customers, creating advertising strategies, and promoting products. So the fourth one is Bachelor of Arts, Human Resource Management. So human resource management is all about taking care of people in an organization. You should think of it. You should think of a company as a team. So the HR department is
Hi,
like a
Kumbos.
coach.
Sorry to
Hi.
disturb. It seems your slides are not moving. Maybe I'm the only one seeing this. I don't know about the others, but I think your slides were not moving.
Okay. Can you see the move now?
Yes, I think you are on slide which says what are these programs, what are the subject combinations. That's the slide that I'm seeing here.
Are you seeing Bachelor of Arts, Human Resource Management?
Yes.
Okay, so I think it's moving because the first one was on the 3.
All right.
So proceeding with the Bachelor of Arts, Human Resource Management, this is about taking care of people in an organization, and human resource management focuses on working with people, managing employee relations, and improving workplace environment. This is also offered by the University of Malawi, and the duration is also 4 years. So the requirements also remain the same, that you have to have 6 credits, including English and mathematics. So what are the career paths in the programs that I've mentioned earlier on? So as much as this list is not exhaustive, I'll just go through some of them. So you can work in the public sector, in an NGO or international organizations. You can work in the private sector as a consultant, as well as in academia and research, and also political and governance roles. So on the public sector, you can be a policy analyst. You can work in a district council as an administrator. You can work in an NGO as a project manager, program officer. In the private sector, you can work as a management consultant, human resource manager, and you could also be a lecturer or research analyst in the academia space. Moving on to Bachelor of Arts, Human Resource Management. On this one, you can work in human resource department as an HR officer or recruitment specialist. You can also work as a training and I think I'm having network problems. I'm not sure if you're able to see the career paths projected.
Are you still on the same slide on Bachelor of Arts Human Resource?
Yes, but now on career paths.
No, it's still on the first slide. Yeah, now it's gone to the career paths.
Okay, I think so I should stop projecting. I should just present it as is. Okay. So I will just repeat the one that I've mentioned earlier, since you were not able to see this slide. So on the career path for public administration, you could work as a government officer in various ministries, departments, and agencies as a policy analyst. You can work in NGOs as a monitoring and evaluation specialist, project manager. You can also work in the private sector and consulting as a corporate affairs manager, human resource manager, corporate social responsibility manager. You could also work in the academia and research as a lecturer and research analyst, and as well as in a political and governance roles such as policy advisor or legislative assistant. And on the Bachelor of Arts Human Resource Management, you could work as an HR officer or coordinator, a training and development officer, employee relations specialist. In the management and leadership roles, you can work as an HR manager or organization development manager. You could also work in other specialized HR roles such as HR information systems, composition analyst, or even performance management specialist. So also, these career paths aren't exhaustive. There could be more than what I've listed here. Moving on to Bachelor of Business Administration, the career paths include Business Development Officer, Procurement Officer or Manager, Operations Manager, even a Sales Manager. And Bachelor of Business Administration on the marketing side, you could work as a marketing officer or manager, customer relations officer, even as a brands manager. And one could ask, what are the relevant hobbies for these specific programs that are offered? So for Bachelor of Arts Public Administration, your relevant hobbies would be volunteering in community services. You could join a debate club for public speaking, and you could also be reading about current affairs and politics just to be well conversant with what is happening and how the country is being shaped through public policies and government actions. You could also participate in student government and clubs, as well as you could do research and writing. You could also just volunteer with an NGO to give you an exposure on the projects that are done that focus on social change as well as education. On the Bachelor of Arts Human Resource Management, your relevant hobbies could be networking and socializing, organizing events or activities. You could read books on psychology or self-help just to understand the human behavior. That would be very crucial in your HR work. You could also participate in team sports. You could do mentoring or coaching. You could learn new communication tools or software. You could even join a professional organization or clubs just to get the industry trends of what is happening in your chosen field. Moving on to Bachelor of Business Administration. On this one, your relevant hobbies could include investing and personal finance management, reading business books and journals, volunteering for leadership roles, as well as public speaking and debate. On the Bachelor of Business Administration, the marketing side, your hobbies could include social media management, graphic design and content creation, photography and videography. You could also start studying consumer behavior, where you could be viewing how campaigns that are done by companies are effective to shape consumers' behavior, as well as doing market research to just understand the customers. So these hobbies will give you a chance to develop skills that you wouldn't necessarily develop them inside the classroom. So they will add value to what you will study in university. So it also prepare you for any challenge that you'd be facing in your career in those 4 chosen programs. So that is the end of my presentation.
All right. Thank you, Kumbo. You've been thorough in that presentation. Next is Andrew. and then we'll be moving on. Thank you. Over to you, Andrew. Hi, Andrew. Are you here? We are waiting for you.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay, so I'm just trying to share my screen, just a little bit. Are you able to see my presentation?
No, it's not here yet. We can't see it. Maybe you can just start speaking to your presentation as you are trying to work on the technicalities of showing it. I don't know if that would work with you, that you can just start speaking to your slides because we might be running out of time.
Okay, fine. Kumbo, can you project my presentation if you can?
Sure.
Yeah, so I will take you through the programs offered by the School of Business and Economic Science. That is Malawi University, from Malawi University of Business and Applied Sciences, MUBAS. Yeah, so the programs offered are the Bachelor of Accountancy, and then we also have Bachelor of Commerce in Internal Auditing. We also have Bachelor of Commerce in Taxation, Bachelor of Commerce Business Administration, Bachelor of Commerce Business Administration, but specializing in marketing. Also, Bachelor of Commerce in Banking and Finance, Bachelor of Commerce in Tourism Management, and then we have Bachelor of Commerce in Entrepreneurship, Bachelor of Procurement and Supply Chain Management, and then we have Bachelor of Law, which is commercial law. But I will not take you through the Bachelor of Business Administration and Bachelor of Business Administration Marketing, because Kumbo already covered these two. You can go to the next slide. Yeah, so what I'll be doing, first of all, I will be mentioning the specification of the program, and then I'll look at the duration of the program, the requirements, and the possible careers. So on the Bachelor of Accountancy, so basically, Bachelor of Accountancy is to do with recording, analyzing, and interpretation of the financial information for individuals or businesses. So when you are recording, basically, what you do is you are keeping track of all the financial transactions, and you are trying to analyze the financial data to identify the trends or the patterns, and then you interpolate or you explain the financial information in a clear and understandable way. So that's it about the Bachelor of Accountancy. So the duration is 4 months, 4 years. So the requirements are you're supposed to have 6 credits at MSCE. So that is including English and mathematics. So in mathematics, maybe you can have a 1, if not a 1, a 2, or a 3 for you to have higher chances of maybe being selected to pursue that particular program. So the possible careers are you can either be a financial manager, you can be an accountant. So you can either be a financial accountant or a management accountant. So the difference between the two, a financial accountant is the one which analyzes the financial data, whereas the management accountant is the one which reports the financial information to the management or to the board of directors for decision making or for performance evaluations. So another program is internal auditing. So basically, internal auditing is about examining an organization's operations and internal controls. So in order to assess the effectiveness and the efficiency of an organization. So Bachelor of Internal Auditing is for 4 years. So the requirements are the same with the Bachelor of Accountancy. So the possible careers for the internal auditing, you can either be an internal or external auditor, risk and compliance manager. You can be a forensic investigator, or you can be a project auditor. The other program is Bachelor of Taxation. So this is one of the newest programs that has been introduced under the School of Business and Economic Sciences. So taxation, it's about imposing taxes. So these are more or less like the compulsory charges that are imposed by the government entities or the individuals or the businesses to fund the public expenditures. So taxation is for 4 years as well. The requirements are the same with the Bachelor of Accountancy or the internal auditing. So in the possible careers, so if you have pursued a Bachelor of Taxation, so you can either be a tax advisor, the tax planner, the tax accountant. You can also be a tax manager or officer or a tax crime investigator. So I'll jump on the business administration because that has been covered already. As well as the business administration marketing. So I'll go straight to the banking and finance. So banking and finance, it's more or less like a combination of two aspects. So there is a banking part and there is a finance part. So the banking part basically deals with the activities of the financial institutions like banks. So what you do, accepting deposits, providing loans, and other financial services. So that's the banking part of it. Whereas the finance part of it, so it covers a broader range of financial activities, which includes the corporate finance, the investment banking, as well as the personal finance. So this program is for 4 years, and the requirements in terms of the subjects are the same. Supposed to have 6 credits, including English and mathematics. If you can have 1 or 2 in mathematics, that is better for you to be accommodated in this particular program. So the possible careers for those who have pursued banking and finance, they can either be the bank managers, or you can work as an investment manager, or you can also work as a credit analyst, You can also work as the loans officer, the treasury manager, or you can work as a terror supervisor. And then we have Bachelor of Commerce in Tourism Management. So Bachelor of Commerce in Tourism Management, it focuses on the business aspect of the tourism industry. And this program equips individuals with knowledge and skills that are needed in the management and the operation of the various components of the tourism sector, like hotels and other tourism sectors. So the program is for 4 years as well. The requirements are the same with the other programs mentioned above. So under Bachelor of Tourism Management, so the possible careers, you can work as the hotel or facility manager, you can be an events manager, or you can be the facilities inspector or business development manager. And then we have Bachelor of Commerce in Entrepreneurship. So Bachelor of Commerce in Entrepreneurship focuses much on the skills and knowledge needed to start and learn a business. So this program basically equips individuals with the tools to identify the business opportunities, develop innovative ideas, and successfully launch and manage their own ventures. So the entrepreneurs, they also create employment um, um, in the world. So Bachelor of Commerce in Entrepreneurship, so this is a 4-year program, and the requirements are the same with the others. So the possible careers for those who are pursuing the Bachelor of Commerce in Entrepreneurship, you can either work as a business development officer, an innovation manager, business manager, or a business consultant, or you can be an entrepreneur. And then we also have a Bachelor of Procurement and the Supply Chain Management. So Bachelor of Procurement and Supply Chain Management, this is also one of newly introduced programs under the School of Business and Economic Sciences. So basically, the Procurement and Supply Chain Management focuses on planning, resourcing, purchasing, and management of goods and services that are needed by an organization. And it involves the entire process from identifying the needs to delivering the final products or a service to the end consumer. So the program is for 4 years as well, and the requirements are the same. So on the possible careers, so you can either be the procurement manager, purchasing manager, or logistics manager, or you can work as an inventory manager, or an operation manager, or a project manager. And then the last one is Bachelor of Laws, which is also known as commercial law. So commercial law basically focuses on the legal aspects of the business and commerce. So it mainly devolves into the law and the regulations that govern the business transaction, contracts, corporate governance, and other commercial activities. So the program is for 5 years. So unlike others, so this one is for 5 years. And the requirements are those who have completed their first year, and they have a grade of not less than, maybe a GPA of not less than 3.0, or those with a credit in diploma from a recognized tertiary education institution, or those with a degree from a recognized university. So with commercial law, you can work as a corporate lawyer, or you can be a commercial lawyer, or you can be an intellectual property lawyer, an in-house counsel. You can also work as an academic researcher. Yeah, so that's it about the programs. On the personality traits and characteristics, so I have classified the programs in 2 groups. So there is business management and there is business and economic sciences. So under business management, so you're supposed to be a strategic thinker, a problem solver, effective communicator. You're supposed to be a team player, and you need to have an entrepreneurial mindset, and you need to be result driven. Under business and economic sciences, you need to have logical and you're supposed to have logical and critical thinker, data-driven decision makers. It is also good for those who are critical thinkers, those who are mathematically literate, and those who are research-oriented, statistical analysis skills, those who have statistical analysis skills, and those who have an ability to interpret complex data. Yeah, so this marks the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you, Andrew, for such an elaborate presentation. I think that brings us to the end of the first section, which was focusing on finance, business, and management. If you guys have any questions, we would like to ask you that please keep them for now. If you have somewhere to write down, just write them down, because our priority is that we should give you all the information. When you are done with that, that's when we open the floor for questions. So now we are moving on into social sciences. So I will hand over to Pempero, who is going to give us her presentation on social sciences. Thank you.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Pempero Jabaka, and I hold a bachelor's degree in social science from the University of Malawi. Tonight, I'll be sharing more on the social sciences, and that is what social science is all about, the programs that are in the social science family, the grade requirements want to be considered in a social science program, as well as any relevant information about social science. So I ask for your attentive attention. First of all, let's look at each of the specified programs in the social science family. So far, we have Bachelor of Sociology, Psychology, Political Science, Development Studies, Economics, Social Work, Demography, which is now known as Population Studies. And now I'll go into detail of each of the programs that I've mentioned. The first one is Sociology. Sociology is the study of the human society. It looks more into the interactions of people, their cultures, how they relate with one another, and the other aspects that people may have in an area. The second one is psychology. Psychology is the scientific study of human behavior and mental processes. So some people say by studying psychology, I can become a psychic or anything like that. There are so many things to say about studying psychology. So the more you go deeper in the program, the more you know what psychology is all about. The third program in social science is political science. Well, this is more on political side. It's where you focus more on politics, the governance. That's how the government is running, how people are conducting some rule of law, anything to do with governance, as well as the power dynamics in society. That's covered in political science. Moving on, we have development studies. This deals with the social, economic, and political development processes. As the name itself suggests, development studies, it looks more into what is happening, how we are moving from being less developed to where we can go for us to be developed as a country. So there are so many issues that you have to look into when you're considering development. So yeah, that's all about development studies. The next program under the family of social science, we have economics. This is all about how the economy is going. We hear about inflation, we hear so many things about monetary policies and anything to do with the economy itself. It just doesn't happen the way we normally think. There are people behind studying what is happening, how we are evolving from where we say less developed to more developed countries, how we can project where we can be in the next 5 years. So it has to do with numbers and statistics for you to know where we are and how we can progress economically. So if you want to know more about the economy itself, not just the inflation we see on the markets, then economics may be the field for you. The other program in the social science family is demography. Demography, I saw on the JAY application list, it was initially demography. We initially called it demography, but now it's being called as population studies. So population studies is much broader than demography. Well, demography, we can just say it is the scientific study of the population. And this is where you look at how the population is, the number of people in a country, say, for example, Malawi. We look at the number of people in Malawi, how it has been divided across the ages of people in Malawi, how resources are being used by different people from different age groups in the country. And overall, we look at the changes that are happening in a population over time, say the number of children being born in a year and how that progresses over time. That's for example. So there are so many aspects in demography, as it is called now population studies, which is broader. It covers so many areas. Sometimes it covers so many areas. Currently, under population studies, you can also look at some aspects from sociology, some aspects from public health, and so many other areas. The other program under social science family, we have social work. This is more of a program which focuses on helping individuals, families, and communities to overcome challenges. As people, as societies, there are so many issues that may affect us day by day, even other periods of times. So by doing social work, you're going to get the right knowledge on how you can handle specific issues, say violence, conflicts, and so many other things that we may face as challenges in our areas. And lastly, we have social science, gender studies. This is another family in the social science. This is another program rather in the social science family, and this mostly looks at the aspect of gender. So in societies, in populations, we have different kinds of people, how they relate, different cultural laws that are set. So by studying gender, you know what has been the trend for the past periods, the past years, and what is supposed to be done in terms of how we treat boys and girls, men and females. So that's all about gender studies. I think that's all on the social science programs. And for one to stand a chance of being enrolled in the social science, in any social science program, as a requirement, just suggests that you have to have at least 6 credits. But for the social sciences, we know that a credit has to be 3 points up to 5 points. But then for the social sciences, they are more competitive. And for one to stand a good chance in getting enrolled in a program under the social science family, you have to at least get a strong credit, and they mostly recommend that you have a strong credit in mathematics, English, because we know that in college all the lessons are offered in English, so you have to be very good in English for you to understand each and every concept that you go through in your lessons and other learning experiences. And specifically for the sociology program, as well as the psychology, even the social work program, you have to have at least strong credits in humanities subjects. These humanities subjects may be history, geography, some do social studies. There are so many humanities subjects that are offered in secondary schools. So you have to have at least a strong credit, which is a 3 or a 4 in all the humanities and the other required subjects. For the political science courses, you also need to have at least strong credits in the humanities as well as mathematics. And for economics, you have to have, it is a must that you have to have a strong credit in mathematics and English. Specifically around the mathematics part, economics is all about mathematics. There are so many equations, so many integrations. So you have to have a strong credit in mathematics for them to consider you, as they will see that this one can be able to bear this much extent of workload, which is mostly mathematical, as it is offered in economics. And moving on to demography, you also need to have a strong credit in mathematics. Demography, as well as economics, they are all mathematical courses, programs. Most of the concepts in the study materials are mathematical in nature. You have to compute statistics, you have to compute integrations, you have to, there is a component of calculus in almost in these two programs. So you have to have a strong credit in mathematics. I think for the grade requirements, that's it. And now for the career prospects, what to expect after pursuing a bachelor's degree in social science in any of the programs that I've mentioned. One, for the sociology program, one can become a social researcher or a policy analyst. Some others can work in the academia. You can become a teacher, a lecturer, I would say, or anything that has to do with academics. There are many areas you can go about sociology. I'm just giving you a picture of what you can become. For psychology, it's not only all about becoming someone who can read people's minds or anything. You can do so many things by studying psychology rather. You can become a clinical psychologist, you can be a counselor, you can also work in the HR department. You can HR, that's where you help in the employment of people in the companies. You have to see people's personalities. You can by studying psychology, you can be able to assess a person's personality. So you can work with the HR by determining who can be on what position, say in a particular organization. For the development studies, you can work with different NGOs, non-governmental organizations. You can also work as a development consultant. People can come to you and ask for tips on how to go about a certain project, which is more developmental. For economics, you can be an economist. You can become a financial analyst or a policy advisor, but you can also become a data scientist because economics is also has a component of research. So you have to, the statistics. You can work around figures. That's mostly the work of data scientists. When you do demography, also known as preparation studies. You can also become a social researcher or a policy analyst. You can also become a data scientist, because just like economics, demography is all about numbers, statistics, the number of people in a country. You can make projections about the future populations and anything like that. So by doing demography, you can become all that as a data scientist or a statistician. It has a component of statistics, so you can be a statistician. You can work with or institutions like the National Statistical Office, the NSO, that conducts so many researches. So yeah, that's it about the career prospects one can go about by being enrolled in any of the social science programs that I mentioned. But however, there are so many things you have to follow for you to be successful in your studies. I know every program is challenging. It's challenging. It just differs in terms of the level of how challenging you find it. The way I find it challenging can be different from another person. So what I'm trying to say is all programs in social science are challenging. It just differs depending on what you're good at. So if someone is good in mathematics, there is no way I believe that person can find economics or demography challenging compared to someone who is good in humanities. So you just have to know which one works best for you. You just have to know that I'm good in humanities. Which social science program can I go for? I am good in mathematics. That means I can work around economics. I can work around some population studies. So you just have to know what you're good at and what works for you to excel in your academics. And you also have to be an analytical thinker. There are issues that are presented. It's not all about mathematics, it's not all about humanities. Because social science deals with people's well-being, people's behaviors, people's daily needs. For example, economics, you have to see what people will eat, resources have to be allocated properly. So you will be presented with practical issues that you have to apply to your content from classes. So you have to think analytically, you have to make good decisions for you to satisfy, I would say, the lecturers, depending on your judgment. So want to excel, you need to be an analytical thinker. You may also have to be good at communications and at least have an interest in reading or finding out more about something new. You have to be explorative. You just can't sit around expecting yourself to be good at economics or any other social science program. You have to explore like what is happening really on the ground. You don't have to sit around and wait for your lecturers to give you everything you need. Some issues are found in the newspapers or social media, so you have to be that kind of person who explores and seeks to know so many new things for you to excel in in any social science program, because social science is all about what is happening in the outside world. Yeah, I think reaching this far, this is pretty much what I had for the social science aspect today. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Pempo, for that presentation. I'm sure that it's been so clear to all of us. As we had said already, if you have any question, please just write it down. If you're on Facebook, you can throw it directly. But if you're on this session on Google Meet, we'll be opening the chat box for your questions. So now we'll cross over to Aaron, who is going to do the first aspect presentation on the arts and humanities. Aaron, you can do your first part. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Sam. So I just have to share my screen. Jack, can you please help me with my screen? All right. While Jackie is helping me with the screen, I would like to introduce myself. As you heard from Sam, my name is Aaron Malunga. I recently graduated from the University of Malawi. I pursued Bachelor of Arts in Social and Economic History. Currently, I'm working with YES as well as an Assistant Mentorship Programs Coordinator. And today I'm making a presentation on a few programs that are from University of Malawi and the other as well as Mzuzu University. Their focus is on arts and humanities. So maybe before I dive deep into the presentation, I would just like to mention that in this era of technology, it seems most of the people are losing interest in studying arts and humanities. But the truth is, we always need humanities for a number of reasons. Um, we need people who can understand people as well, because technology focuses on machines and so many other things. But in the world where the conflicts are over, we need people who can think, who can provide solutions, because even those machines will need someone to learn them. So development on humanity programs or arts will always remain relevant and very essential. So please don't be discouraged if you are planning to study humanities. You will still be successful. No career is superior. No career has something that is so special than other careers. Jack, Jack Nyirenda, are you there?
Yes, he's there. He's on the first slide, Bachelor of Arts Humanities.
All right. Thank you so much. So, Bachelor of Arts Humanities, it's a program that is from University of Malawi. As I said, that I'm chairing on two programs. So this program is mainly offered at the University of Malawi, and the program goal and objectives is to equip students with. That is on the second slide, Jack. If you are not yet there, no. Yeah, so Bachelor of Arts Humanities was designed to equip students with orally communication and interpersonal skills. And the second goal was to offer leadership skills. I'm not explaining this because they are self-explanatory, and you are able to understand them. If not, then you give question at the end of the presentation, as Sam indicated. And the other thing is to offer organization management. So this includes the administration or anything to do with management. Jack, let's go to the third slide, which talks about minimum requirements for someone to be considered for this program. The minimum requirements are 6 credits at MSc, including English, plus any other 2 humanities. This might be social studies, history, geography, as well as another language. Because we already have English, so you might also have Jijewa, even French. You may be welcomed for this program. On the career prospect, Bachelor of Arts and Humanities, Bachelor of Arts in Humanities, rather, it's a program that prepares people to become good writers, because there's a lot of writing and there's a lot of reading in the Bachelor of Arts in Humanities. At the end of the day, or at the end of the program, you end up becoming someone who can write. You end up becoming an artist. You end up becoming a politician, public relations officer, administrators, lecturers, as well as researchers. So if you're interested in pursuing any of these careers being highlighted here, Bachelor of Arts in Humanities is ready to help you to become what I have just mentioned. The other program that I would like to share with you guys, it's a Bachelor of Arts in Theology. So this program is being offered in 2 individual universities. That is Mzuzu University. It's also offering this program, and it's under faculty of humanities and social sciences. And at the University of Malawi is also under the faculty of humanities and social sciences. So the most interesting thing is that the career prospects as well as minimum requirements or entry requirements seem to be very identical. So the program goal and objectives. The primary role of this program is to impact people or to give you the theological knowledge on how you can learn social, political, and economic development. So you relate with issues to do with religious studies and see how much impact can religious studies have on our politics, on our economy, as well as all other developments that we may want to have in society. Because sometimes when we think about religious things, we think they are there just to help us on matter to do with our spiritual lives. But this is not always the case. So Bachelor of Arts is much prepared to help students to be acquainted with knowledge on how they can use religious knowledge on a development project. The requirements are more like similar with those of the first program that I mentioned, that Bachelor of Arts in Humanities. You just need to have a better MSc with 60 credits, including English, plus another two humanities. That is it might be social studies, geography, history, and another language. That might be Jijewa as well as French. I don't think in Malawi we're also learning other languages apart from these. The career prospects include counselors, pastors, missionary workers, police advisors. You might also be working in faith-based organizations that they are looking for people who are well acquainted with the knowledge on how to use faith in learning projects or development projects in a nation or in an organization. You might also be a lecturer. We have lectures at the University of Malawi and those universities. They did arts and theology, and they are now lecturing the same program. You might also be a researcher, because once you are done with this program, the assumption is you are well acquainted with the knowledge, and it might be easier for you to undergo a research work and provide knowledge or even support other coursework. So primarily, these are the two programs that I plan to share with you guys. And from now onwards, I'll leave for Sam Banda to proceed with the other arts and humanity programs. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Aaron, for the presentation on those programs. As he has mentioned, my role is to continue presenting on the other programs. So I'm going to present on programs from 3 universities: Nzuzu University, MAST, and the University of Malawi, some which were skipped. So I'll ask Yanko to bring my presentation on screen. Thank you. All right, so as said, my name is Samuel Manasabanda. Professional, I work with the Malawi Electoral Commission in the Civic and Voter Education Department. I'm a graduate from the University of Malawi, Chancellor College, with a Bachelor of Arts in Communication and Cultural Studies, but currently I'm studying for a Master's in Public Affairs and Political Communication in Dublin, Ireland. So we can go to the next slide, please. So what I'm going to do is that I will just be mentioning the programs and then just giving you an overview. I will not be taking a very detailed approach where I will be talking about maybe the required grades in every program. I'll be taking a bit of a different approach. For instance, now we are at Nzozo University. I would like you to know that if we are talking about Nzozo University, every program which is being shown on your screen from Nzozo University, for you to qualify to that program, you need to have an MSc with less than 30 points. What does that mean? That means that if you do 6 credits, 6 times 6, and then you have 36, you will not qualify to any of the program that is there. So for Nzozo University, you should have less than 30 points. And also in those less than 30 points, you should have English plus any other two humanities or languages. So that's it. Every program that I'm going to talk about from Zuni, the entry requirements are the same. So the programs as shown here, the first one is Bachelor of Arts in Politics and Governance. This has to do with studying of how governance systems work. If you want to understand how government decisions made, you have to study that program. It's similar to the one that was presented by Kumbu from the University of Malawi. That's Think Political Science. So that's that program. The same with Bachelor of Arts in International Relations and Diplomacy. That program has to do with how does Malawi or how do countries relate with each other. If you've done this program, Bachelor of Arts in International Relations and Diplomacy, most likely you work in the embassies. Maybe you work as a foreign services officer, or you'll be working as under secretary in the Malawi embassy. So the main reason why they started this program is that Malawi should have ambassadors, Malawi should have foreign services workers who have a very good understanding of how other countries make policies. For instance, tikamamva zoti kuli nkhondo ku Ukraine, tikamamva kuti kuli nkhondo ku Gaza, how does that affect Malawi, and what should Malawi's response to that be? So amene apanga Bachelor of Arts International Relations and Diplomacy, those are the issues that they cover. So pena ndikamafotokoza muziona kale zoti yukuuzani kale what kind of a person should you be. If you hate news, if you don't like reading, you can do Bachelor of Arts in International Relations and Diplomacy. Then we go to number 3, which is Bachelor of Arts in Development Studies. Development Studies basically looks at how are development projects implemented, how to evaluate them, what are the best development models, can you use the same development models in town and in the rural places. So it does about all that. When you graduate in this program, you'll be working with NGOs, you'll be working with government, you'll be working with international NGOs. There are just so many opportunities for Bachelor of Arts in Development Studies. And then there is Bachelor of Arts in History and Heritage Studies. That has to do with history, for you to understand where is Malawi coming from. Because the role of history is that when we are able to understand the past, it helps us prepare for the future. So if you study this program, you'll be able to know that maybe in this year we had what can I give as an example? Maybe Tinandina Polo at the 7th place. And according to history, we might have another outbreak. So the way it happened with the cyclones that Malawi has been facing recently, if you ask historians, they will tell you that some of the places where we had Napolo in Chiradzulu, in Blantyre, years ago, they also had Napolo. So studying history helps us understand that what are the likely things to occur in future because of what has already happened in the past. So those are the jobs that you can have. You can be a teacher, you can work in the museums and all those other places. Bachelor of Arts, Theology and Religious Studies, I won't go into that because Aaron already explained it. And then we have Bachelor of Arts in Communication. That's the program that I did, but I did it at the University of Malawi. Here you learn the art of communication, not just what to communicate, but why do we communicate. So nowadays it's beyond just communication. Back then we would learn just about communication or just about radio and TV, but right now we are even studying what are the modern methods of communication. We're talking about digital media, what are its influences on decision making. So all those things you learn them in Bachelor of Arts in Communication Studies. So when you do this program, you can work either as a journalist, you can work in publications, you can work as a policy advisor. There are so many opportunities. The last one is Bachelor of Library and Information Science. So this has to do with that the world is moving. The world is moving at a very fast pace, and because of these movements, there is a need for people who understand how to catalog information. Maybe after we have done our studies, after we have finished our degrees, our diplomas, we do get maybe research findings. How do we store that? How do we store information better so that things that are happening this year, like the way what we are talking about, the maybe COVID-19, we talk about the Cyclone Freddy's, those things after they have happened, if maybe newspapers write about them, how are we storing that information for use in the future so that it should not be hard to find? If you own a laptop, you can agree with me that pamakhala nthawi ina imene umadziwa kuti unalemba china chake koma chimene unalemba chija ukachifuna sukuchipeza because you don't know unachiseva kuti chani, you don't have a proper cataloging system. So anthu amene apanga study library and information science ntchito imakhala yoti they are very good people at catalog. They are able to know that information imayenera yapangidwe store chonchi ndi ikafunika idzagwiritsidwa ntchito chonchi. The next slide, it's Faculty of Tourism, Hospitality and Management at Nzuzu University. As I said, the requirements are the same that I said in the beginning. The first one is Bachelor of Business, that is Tourism Management. So that program has to do with, as Malawi, how do we manage our tourism industry? How do we market our tourism industry? Because as we know that currently tobacco is no longer a very viable industry in Malawi. That caused that we need to find other alternative means of generating forex. So maybe forex tigamati kuvuta mafuta kuvuta is because we don't have forex. So we need specialists who understand tourism so that the same lake that we have in places like where I am, there is no freshwater lake kulinyanja kumandioti ndianchere. But then in Malawi we have a freshwater lake which is not well marketed. So people who do Bachelor of Business Tourism Management, they help us market our country to foreigners or to tourists. And then there is Bachelor of Arts, Culture and Heritage Tourism. This has to do with my heritage sites. I mean, tinapuzira history yago primary school. Timapuzira zaka Fula and other tribes that were in Malawi back then. But in Malawi, amene aja makala, they are of interest to tourists. So people who do Bachelor of Arts, Culture and Tourism, they study those things and see that how can they help us to become a prominent country which can attract people to come and study them. And then the other one is Bachelor of Hospitality Management. The tourism management, I said that it has to do with the tourists who come and how to manage them and how to market our place, our country. But then Bachelor of Hospitality Management, now it has to do with after we have managed to market our country, do we have the facilities? So either it's hotels and things like those, we need to have good hotels so that after we market our country, after we market our heritage sites, when people are coming, they should be able to find better places, good hotels, good lodges. So hospitality management has to do with how do we manage our hospitality industry. So in this program, it means you can either work as a hotel manager, you can work as a lecturer, you can work as a policy maker in hospitality industry. Those are the career opportunities. And then we have Bachelor of Culinary Arts. Culinary Arts, you should see that number 1, 2, 3, and 4, they are all related. Number 4, after we have brought tourists to our country, after we have given them good hotels, are we giving them good food? So Bachelor of Culinary Arts has to do with food preparation and everything that relates to that, meaning that when you graduate in this program, you should when you graduate in this program, you'll be a chef, not just someone who prepares food at a restaurant and gets some little money, but you'll be able to prepare good food in good hotels and be making enough money. Number 5 is Bachelor of Arts, Sports Management. I think yesterday, for those who were here, Yanko talked about sports management. So this has to do with how do we manage our sports, our professional teams, how do they become professionals, not just taking someone because a good guy am a supporter team and then a team manager, but you should have professional knowledge on how football or any other sport is managed. Crossing over, we go to the University of Malawi. That's the School of Arts, Communication and Design. I think I'm trying not to repeat what Aaron said. We have 4 programs here. And in terms of the entry requirements, you need to have 6 credits at MSc. including English, and 2, any other humanities. That's what you need for this program. You need 2, any other humanities. What are these programs? The first one is the program that I did, Bachelor of Arts in Communication and Cultural Studies. So in this program, basically, apart from just studying communication, you also study to say how do people communicate in their cultures. The word culture here is not being used as culture ngati khalidwe imene timadziwa one is chewa, one is tumbuka, one is yawo, but we mean every people demographics have their own way of cultural communication. For instance, young people who are called Gen Z, they have their own communication patterns which are cultural to Gen Z, which doesn't apply for those who were born in the 80s. So this kind of communication, it studies that for a particular generation, how do they communicate? And for you to pass a message to those people, how should you communicate? For instance, if you are targeting people who live in the villages and maybe they don't have the internet, you cannot communicate using social media. Actually, what we are doing here, we are targeting a special audience. But we know that there are others who cannot come and join this Google Meet or Facebook because they don't have access. So Bachelor of Arts in Communication and Cultural Studies looks at those things. So when you graduate from this program, you can work as a publications officer, communication officer, civic education, like the way I'm doing, or so many other communicative aspects that are there. The same thing with Bachelor of Arts in Media for Development at the University of Malawi. In this program, what you are studying I would call them the theatrical way of presenting developmental ideas. For instance, how do we use drama? How do you use music? How do you use all those things? How do you use theater for development? So tikamamvera kuti akupanga sewero pa radio kuti sewero limene apanga sponsor ndi PSI kapena a story workshop. Those people are experts in media for development. They have to use radio and any other media to make sure that they communicate developmental policies. So mukati mwapanga program imeneyo, you work with so many organizations. There is a new field that is popular now. It's called social and behavior change communication. How do you use communication kuti anthu asinthe makhalidwe ngati nkhani ya vaccine imene machitika ija? What methods do we use to make sure that people understand that vaccine si wa 666 kapena zinthu zimene zimakambidwa zija? Anthu amene apanga Bachelor of Arts Media for Development, they play a role in formulating those messages. And then Bachelor of Arts in Creative Arts, that has to do with creative, whether it has to do with drawing, it has to do with curios, it has to do anything, it has to do with creative arts. This is what they do. When you study this program, it means you'll be someone who is an artist. So there's something special about this program that I would like to highlight. Bachelor of Arts in Creative Arts is not a program that you go to study and then you learn there. It's the other way around. You should be passionate about drawing or about that particular art to apply, because if you don't know anything about drawing, even if agakutenga this program, the chances are that you might struggle a bit because you need to be a creative. So and other people are naturally creatives, others are naturally poets. They've never gone to school, but they are naturally creative. So this program, as much as anyone can go into it, but it's most advantageous to those. And then the other one, it's Bachelor of Arts in Film. I think that's self-explanatory. Those who make movies and all that. We can move to the next slide, yeah, Uncle. Thank you. So now I'm going to the Malawi University of Science and Technology, and the first program there, it's Bachelor of Arts in Indigenous Knowledge Systems and Practices. When you were studying, this was one of those programs, many antamanazod in the degree as a fit and things like those, but necessarily that's not what the program is about. But before I go into what is it, I'll have to say for most programs, for one to be accepted, you should have an MSc with 6 credits, including English language. And also what is important to note about MAST is that in those subjects that we are saying you should have a credit, a grade must not be more than 4. So credit imina kunena ku must as a 4, meaning that you might have a 6, which by classification is a credit, but you will not qualify for must because the credit it should be less than 4. So either in social studies, life skills, Bible knowledge, history, humanities, or any language subject, you should have a credit which is not more than 4 points. So Bachelor of Arts in Indigenous Knowledge Systems and Practice, this program, what it does again is to look at what is it that happens in our local societies. Because chifukajaji zungu and westernization, there are so many things that we believe to be true from the Western world, but equally those who have studied, they believe there are some local methods or there are some local ways which make more sense. So this program looks at what are the local knowledge patterns many zilimo mu Malawi muno ngapena amongst the various tribes many they can still serve our interests, they can still help our society. Like pala anthu ena akamene sanapite ku school but they can always predict kuti mvula chaka chino iyamba mwezi uwu. You wonder that these people are not scientists at all, but they have a certain way of knowledge that amadzoti mvula yamba mwezi uwu chaka chino mwina tidzale nthawi if kodi mvula ikangoti yagwa chonchi it means ikhala ikugwa in this pattern. Scientists might try to guess that, but they will get it wrong. Most these guys, they will get it right because they have a certain level of experience and knowledge. So Bachelor of Arts in Indigenous Knowledge Systems and Practices, that's what it looks at. So when you do this program, you can work mostly as a researcher or as a lecturer of indigenous knowledge systems. The other one is Bachelor of Arts in African Musicology. So this one has to do with African music. Because Antwambili nowadays we listen to hip hop and all that R&B, but there's also African music. So it researches what is African music and even finds ways of promoting African music, making sure that it's being exported. Palimatis Sambilimbili like Oliver Tukudzi and others from Africa who made names singing music in their own local languages. So that's what African musicology does. The third one is Bachelor of Arts in Language, Communication and Culture. I will not talk about that because it's similar with what we talked about from Chancellor College or from the University of Malawi. Then there is Bachelor of Arts in Cultural Economy. This one has to do also with culture, but looking at how does culture influence other things in our society. And the last one is Bachelor of Arts in Archives and Record Management. This one is the same with Library and Information Science, Yakunzuzu University. The difference are minimal, so they are almost of the same program. If there is another slide, let's go, please. Yes, so now we go to the Malawi University of Business and Applied Sciences, which I will, if in my presentation, I might be referring to it as Poly because during my days it was Poly. So just get it that if I'm saying Chango, I'm referring to Unima. If I'm saying Poly, I'm referring to Mubas, because those names are still stuck in my memory. That's what I know better. Okay, so in terms of the Polytechnic, which is MOBAS, the School of Education, Communication and Media Studies, what you need to get into this program, it's 6 credits with English and a pass in mathematics. But here now you should be very careful. During the first or second session, someone asked me a question. I had said that I tried applying, I had 19 points and I applied Bachelor to the University of Malawi and I was not accepted the first 2 attempts. So someone asked that, how did it happen? It happened because of the error that one can make when you're looking at the programs at the Malawi Polytechnic or at MUBAS. For instance, they are saying that for these programs, you should have 6 credits including English and a pass in mathematics. But the truth is, if you have a 6 in mathematics, I would like to give you this kind of thinking, which might not even apply just to this program, but even to the other programs. You should know that you are not competing on your own. You are competing like management in a first day. Last year, 2023, 2024, and Hamina Banga apply, ku public universities, and Abanga apply until 19,250. So if 19,250 people applied, of which Amana Tengedwa and to 9,226 and they were left around 8,681. So the issue that we have here is that Ngadana Zodi, you should have a pass in mathematics. It's given that when you are applying, Palien Amena Lindi credit in mathematics. So you should be very careful that when they say you should just have a pass, know that what they mean by a pass, they are just making it politely. But those who will be successful are those who have a credit because they are looking for the best. So for me, when I was applying for my Bachelor of Arts in Journalism, I had a bare pass in mathematics, but I kept on applying for Bachelor of Arts in Journalism because I thought I was good enough for journalism, which usually they will not look at how good you are as a person, but they will look at who you are competing against. So if the one you are competing against has a far much better grade, it means they will get in. So in the next 3 minutes, let's get into this program specifically. Bachelor of Arts in Business Communication. This has to do with communication, but that is more being an official setup. Things like writing memos and handling like business communication. Because the communication that I was talking about from Chanko, it has to do with general communication, communicating with the public. But business communication mostly looks at communication like from a very official point of view. So that's what business communication is about. How do you improve internal communications in organizations? So, but still, because Malawi is still not yet that advanced, the lines are not there. The lines about Muntamina journalism, or business communication, or communications and cultural studies, the jobs are the same, so there will not be many differences, but this one is specifically targeted at those who would like to do more of what I would call corporate communication. So, Pamini Bachelor of Education Business Studies, this is more of an education program. I hope that those who do education, they might touch on it about tomorrow, but you do education and business studies. There's another thing with Bachelor of Science in Technical Education. This has to do with teaching technical studies and those related programs in secondary schools, and even some of them go on to teach in technical colleges or vocational training colleges, and have Bachelor of Science in Technical Education. Bachelor of Arts in Journalism, which is used to be one of the most popular programs during my time. Basically, it has to do with journalism, writing stories and disseminating them through radio, TV, newspapers, and nowadays through Facebook and other digital media channels. One of the most popular programs, and it's a good program. And the next one is Bachelor of Arts in Digital Journalism. So the first one, Bachelor of Arts in Journalism, the syllabus imangwanga na wambili radio, TV, and newspaper. But digital journalism is now focusing on things like my podcast, things like maybe YouTube, things like all these modern TikTok, many people are doing nowadays. How do you communicate using those spaces? That's what Bachelor of Arts in Digital Journalism does. So if you do Bachelor of Arts in Journalism, we already know that you'll be a reporter or you'll be whatever, you work for the media house. If you do Bachelor of Arts in Digital Journalism, even these media houses have spaces. Recently, Nation and think Nation Online, I don't know if we have any other media house in Malawi. Imine yumapanga recruiter specific amenapanga kutakali digital reporters or digital journalists. So you'll be responsible for creating content, because we have my influencers. Of course, Malawi city na figebu kumaiko ena like where I am. We have my influencers. I mean, they are paid millions of dollars. Millions of euros just to be pushing a certain narrative. What may be entire campaign. How best to those who follow current affairs, Donald Trump has won in the US as the president. But he said it publicly to say for him to manage to reach to young voters, it was because of his son Baron, who is only 18 years old, who is very knowledgeable when it comes to TikTok, podcast, and all that. So when you have knowledge in digital journalism, it means your role will be how to curate information in many and about TikTok. So that's what digital journalism is all about. Technical education, that's what I already said, by Bachelor of Science in Technical Education. And then finally, Bachelor of Social and Behavior Change Communication. Ndina photo kuzagali organization ngati banja la mtsogolo ndiye naotera mayuza social and behavior change communication to reach out with their messages. I don't know if you have another slide. Yanko, do we have another slide? There's a chance that my technical person has gone to sleep, but I believe that that might be my last slide. If we have another one, it will come up, but I believe that might be my last slide. So having said all that, now I would like to ask that the question box should be open, so that if you guys have questions, you can ask. So as the question box is being opened, I understand that some of the panelists didn't properly introduce themselves. Someone told me that. So Kumbo, Andrew, and any other panelist who didn't introduce. I think Aaron, you did, but Kumbo, Andrew, and any other panelist who didn't introduce themselves. I also noted that Victoria joined. I don't know if I really saw you, Victoria. So you can also introduce yourself. I think last slide, Yanga Nalevi University of Malawi, but Wafondo Aaron. Okay, babwera full. So I would just have to answer right away because it relates with what I was saying. Someone is asking that, can you please talk about law? Thank you. Can you talk about law? So, University of Malawi law program, just like Andrew noted, University of Malawi law you do not apply. You do not apply directly. You have to go and do any other program. You can do it at Unima or any other public university. Mukati mwapanga ku public university first year mukamaliza, it's when you are able to apply for law according to the grade. So I will not talk more about this because mukapita ku university mukaona mene zimakhalira koma you just need to work hard in your first year. After that you'll be able to apply into a law program, so you don't go directly into the law program. With that, I will have to go to the chat box as I'm asking Andrew, Kumbo, and possibly Victoria to introduce themselves by telling us what program they did and if they are working, where they're working right now. Thank you.
So my name is Kumbo Unyolo, and I studied Bachelor of Arts Public Administration, but with a minor in economics. I'm working with Bridgebath Capital Limited.
Andrew, I think we are waiting for you. All right. Because Andrew is not here or something else is happening, we're running out of time. I'll just go to the questions. Yes. All right. Sorry, Victoria. Yes. Over to you, please. Victoria, you can introduce yourself. May any of the hosts please unmute Victoria? There's a chance that she's muted by default. So because she's not a co-host, maybe she cannot speak. So as we are waiting for her to come, I'll just read out the questions so that the panelists should be able to prepare for the answers. Someone is asking about psychology. I think psychology was already explained by Pempero. And then there is one who is asking about if one has a 6 in English. So we would like to ask you that please refer to what we said, but the chances are low because you need to have a strong credit. I think if that's what I would say right away. Someone is saying their opinion at this psychology, please talk more. It's such an underrated program and it is good before law. Okay, that's your opinion. We are not here to take opinions. There's a chance psychology is better to you than law, but everyone has freedom to believe what's right with them. And then someone is asking, where does development economics stand? Is it also under social science? And is it different from the economics under social science? If they are different, how different are they? I don't know if Victoria has been unmuted or made a host. I would like Victoria to answer this question. Where does development economics stand? Is it also under social science, and is it different from the economics under social science? If they are different, how different are they? And then how many humanities does a person need for sociology to be psychology? I don't know. Maybe rewrite this question. How many humanities does a person need for sociology to be specific psychology? I would say refer to the same thing that we said. you guys, you know that when chair releases their call for application, it will have the requirements. So we would like you from us, you should learn more about what are these careers about and what are the career prospects. About what necessarily do you need, the call for application will have that information. So that shouldn't scare you, that shouldn't give you any headache. And then pabwera mafuso atatu which have to do with IT. Amene I will cover at some point. And then someone is asking, can you explain more about descriptive statistics? Attend tomorrow's session. We'll have someone who did statistics to give a presentation about anything to do with statistics and education. So that will be covered tomorrow. Reaching this far, after that journalism, I think tina photo was akali kuti kuyunima kuti ma subjects hake India. I will just refer to that at the beginning of this session. If we have Victoria, maybe you can speak now. All right, if Victoria is not able to speak, Jack, I think you can explain the difference of the development economics and economics. Are you able to do that?
Yeah, sure. I think I can tackle that question. So basically, I think the main distinction between development economics and economics is on the focus. Economics, it is more generic, while development economics focuses more on developing countries, on how they can transform from being developed to developed countries, to becoming developed countries. Like menadiri Malawi, kodi Malawi ngakhale bwanji developed countries ngati menadiri munagandi America. So imangopanga focus on that, and my issues are poverty, zinthu ngati zimenezozo. Pomwe economics general imangokhudzana kwambiri ndi how do you make decisions to maximize to allocate my resources amene munthu uli nawo, and it's general uthanungulo akuna kulikonse guys, business, whichever field. So the distinction imankhala on concentration. On development, we are only focusing on the development part. Yeah, I hope that creates a question. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Pali anthu ambiri amene anafunsa mafunso okhudzana ndi IT and computer. I think starting from yesterday, that's one of the fields which haven't been covered thoroughly. I noted that kuti we had an engineer amidst us yesterday, but we didn't have someone who did IT. So we should promise you that for anyone who is interested in computer science or IT related, tomorrow as we'll be finishing, we'll try to bring someone who can just speak for 5 minutes about computer or IT related programs. So everyone with an IT or computer related program, tomorrow we'll have a session. During tomorrow's session, we'll have someone who will speak to computer or IT. My panelists, I'm sure we're able to see the chat box. Do we have any question that we would like to answer from the chat box? Or maybe Jack, you can just read the questions again from the chat box. But before Jack does, if any panelist thinks there's a question from the chat box that they would like to answer, please, the floor is open for the next 30 seconds. You can answer that question.
I think I can see there is this other question to do with internal audit. Would the internal audit and external audit imasiyana bad. So internal audit ndiyankha by maybe by imapangidwa performed ndi ndani komanso what is it involved. So internal audit imapangidwa performed ndi ma employees amene amakhala ngati mu organization momwemo, or the employees amene achita kupangidwa contacted, let's say that the internal audit firms. So that's internal audit. Whereas external audit, it is performed by the third parties. So basically, The internal audit imapanga focus on improving the organization's operations, whereas the external audit it's just there to provide the assurance to the external stakeholders about the accuracy of the financial statements. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Andrew Kongola. I'm a holder of a bachelor's degree in banking and finance. Kuchokera ku Pole. Right now, I'm working with Bridgepath Capital as an investment associate. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Do we have any other panelists who'd like to answer any of the questions? As we are checking the chat box for the panelists, Babwira Fusola Actuarial Science. So this question, Actuarial Science, I would say it will be tackled tomorrow by the one who will be doing the statistics and something related to that. So just be present tomorrow and that question will be answered. Andrew Coco, you've been repeatedly asking about IT and computer science. So I've said that will be tackled tomorrow. We'll bring someone. So please just be patient with us. We've noted that from the first day. We'll bring someone tomorrow in IT who is going to address programs related to that. Any questions from the chat box?
I don't know if you tackled this other question from Wichizi Ndunga. What are the current points of business administration?
No.
Did anyone tackle that?
Not yet, but generally, what we are trying to do is, my questions in a minute they are general, in they are specific. We are scared to say if we are going to start mentioning points for any program, then we'll have questions that will not end. So the advisory is, if there are questions to do with points for a specific program, tikatenga application yancheja. If I were able to share my screen, I could have done that, but because it's streaming, I can't. Imaonate as you should have these points. So we should just take note to say, Agat, you should have a distinction, maybe a credit, just follow that. But the biggest danger that we face mostly, I'll say this from experience here last year. If we tell you that you need 16 points to get into this program, some of you will apply because you have 16 points, yet the aggregate of your points doesn't relate with that program. So we would like to ask that pay particular attention what I said earlier about your strength. Know that you are competing. So if they say they are looking for someone with a credit in this, and you know that, for instance, they programmed the Bachelor of Social Science Economics, as Pempero said. If you are at Chancellor College or at the University of Malawi, Bachelor of Social Science Economics is probably one of the most prestigious programs. So ngati Social Science Economics anazoti you should have a credit in maybe in any subject, and your credit is a 5, you will not make it, because people who go to Social Science Economics kuchanko and how many alindima 1 usually 1, 2, 3. So if you have your 6, maybe my 6 hour will and then dima 2 enage, it might not work better for you. You might not stand an advantage because it's a prestigious program. I think that's how I would answer. That. Let's see if there is another question. Public administration. I think Kumbo had tackled this. So I'm in public administration. Please go to the beginning. Because this session will be on our Facebook page. Go and listen to the presentations because some of the questions are repetitive. Can you explain further about banking and finance? Andrew explained well on this because that's a program that he did. So same thing, the Amena Fusauti is a 5 in English promising to pursue architecture from Mubas. So those questions are person-to-person questions. So it will see, okay, ukangana mapoints ako onse ngati uli ndi 5 in English, mathematics, physics, chemistry uli ndi bwanji. Ngati uli mapoints ambiri ukapanga accumulative yako, you will not stand a chance. But maybe ngati uli ndi ma 1 kwinako, you only have a 5 in English, you might have a comparative advantage, but you are not that much guaranteed. So we would like to close by asking any panelist if you have any final thoughts to say. The questions amene mafunsa tiwapanga kope, tikapanga kope, tiyapanga synthesize amene akufunika mayankho tipanga a write up imene imachita kuti an FAQ kapena frequently asked questions. So using the frequently asked questions tiyankha mafunso onse ndi kupanga post in our social media platforms so that mupeze mayankho. So be assured that ngati funso wanu sinayankhidwe panopa, in that document imene tipange, it will have answers to each and every question that was asked on this forum, because our team has copied all the questions that were asked. Panelists, do you have anything final to say before we close? All right, I'm being told that I can close because shows like there is no any other comment from panelists. So as I'm closing, someone wrote in the inbox right now, he's given me a very important information. So how can you know this is a prestigious program? Okay, you are asking what is the link to your platforms. Our platforms, once you go on Facebook, search for Youth Empowerment and Support Initiative Malawi, Youth Empowerment and Support Initiative Malawi. If you go, whether it's on Instagram, if you go on LinkedIn, if you go on Facebook, that's our name. Once you like or follow us there, we'll be able to get everything. From session year day one, we've been trying to upload them there. So they're also on YouTube. So just go there and then you'll find everything that we've been discussing. So I would like to make a very important point. How do you know that this is a prestigious program? Because there is also social science, economics, is prestigious. So normally, you might know that the program is prestigious because of the number of people in Matenga. For instance, mugapita kuma engineering programs at Mubas, you will notice that some Matenga the same amount of people ndi mmene amatengera ku Bachelor of Education Business Studies. So if you look at the number of people that are required for that program, it somehow indicates how prestigious is the program, number one. Number two, if you look at how strict are they in the points that they are looking for instance, mugapita College of Medicine, which is now KUHES, umapanga specify to say in this program you should have amene level second day awamwe amanena zoti you should have points maybe minimum is equal to 3 in one subject. So when you have those strict specifications, it's telling you that the program is prestigious. With that, I would like to conclude and thank you all for being part of this session. Thank you to all the participants. Thank you to all of you who've been following us through Facebook Live, and mostly thank you to our panelists who took time to present to us. You took time to prepare. We don't take it for granted. So thank you very much for everything that you've done, and especially thank you to our technical team, Yanko and Jack, for the great work that you've done. This session will be available on YouTube tomorrow by 10 a.m. And remember, tomorrow we're having the last session. Tomorrow, Sunday, we are talking about programs in agriculture, in natural sciences, in education. So be here tomorrow at 8 p.m. We'll have our final session. Thank you and good night.